Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Haskell. I'm president of The Healing Place.
And I'm Jay Davidson, founder and executive chairman.
Welcome to the Galt House for the first ever Reach, Recover, Restore Luncheon. This isn't how we thought we'd be talking to you today, but as our clients like to say, if nothing changes, nothing changes. We miss seeing your smiling faces, and we hope that you are staying safe and healthy at home. We wouldn't be here today without the support and help of our title sponsor, Eclipse Bank. When we made the decision to do this event virtually, they were all in. I would also like to thank all of our amazing sponsors for making this event possible. Homepage Realty, Scopecchio, Brown Forman, the Robert Alexander Center for Recovery, Central Bank, Jan Karzan, Karen Ash, Wave 3 TV, and iHeartMedia. We very much appreciate your being here today and buying a virtual table or ticket to this event. You are making an impact on more than just our clients. The meal you would have enjoyed today has been delivered to organizations across the city all week long to feed those in need.
My name is Emmanuel. I'm an alcoholic. In about 3 weeks, I'm going to be celebrating 2 years. I'm very excited about that. I never thought I would be able to put 2 years together. For the longest time, I couldn't put hours together, Before I came to the Healing Place, I was working 2 jobs. I had my own place, living in Chicago, but I couldn't make it through my day without drinking because I had really bad shakes. I reached out to some friends of mine who lived in Louisville, and I said, I need to stop drinking. And I didn't know how to stop, and they suggested the Healing Place. So I, after talking to them for a couple of hours, they convinced me that this was the best choice for me. So they drove up to Chicago and picked me up and brought me to the Healing Place. I woke up in detox, and I remember freaking out and wondering what I did, how did I get here? I was really scared and nervous. And I also felt like I didn't belong there because, the people I spoke with were it seemed like they were from the streets and like they had been in and out of jail. I kept telling myself, but I have a job and I have a place to live. I really don't need to be here. And on my last day in detox, they asked me if I had a place to go. And I said, yeah, I do. And they were like, okay. And then another person in detox came over to me and they were like, you mean you came all the way from Chicago to get help and you're not gonna stay and get help? And I was like, but I have a place to go. And they said, you deserve to get help just as much as anybody else here. And so that was just kind of that moment for me, because I had prayed for that. I prayed for someone to talk to me and I guess give me some kind of courage to stay. And that was for me my first moment, a God moment for me, and it told me that this is where I needed to be. And so I stayed, and that was June 29th of 2018, and I've been here ever since. I went through the program, went through the office as a peer mentor, and then now I'm working on staff as an administrative assistant. The Healing Place saved my life, and I'm I'm forever grateful for everything that I learned and I've learned and continue to learn to this day. You know, every day I learned something new, a new lesson. And, you know, this isn't the life that I thought I was going to live, but it's the best life that that I could ask for, you know. So, thank you for everyone who's given me that opportunity. I certainly couldn't have done it without your help. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Doug Scott. I'm the Vice President of Mission Advancement for the Healing Place. And I know that's a really fancy title, but what it really means is watch your checkbook, protect your wallet, because I'm getting ready to come for it. No, seriously, today I wanted to talk to you about commitment. I wanted to talk to you about commitment that you guys have already made to the Healing Place. We couldn't provide all these life-saving services that we provide without what you guys have done to support us. I can't talk about commitment without talking about how proud I am of our staff, particularly our program staff and our operations staff, dealing with the challenges that we're dealing with today with COVID-19 and some of the state of the cultural things that are going on. I need to tell you, we haven't missed a single service. In fact, 2,200 men and women since March 1st have been to the Healing Place looking for safety. And they've been able to find it there, mainly because of their proactive planning so that we could continue to do that. And so speaking of commitment, I can't really leave out the commitment of the client in all of this. You know, while you and I might be sitting at home wondering where the next roll of toilet paper is, or possibly wondering if we can afford to absorb the furlough that we may have received, or if we can figure out how to create the living room into a work from home space, our clients have been faced with all of that. And I want you to think about Emmanuel, that story that you just heard, and that first day that Emmanuel woke up in detox, scared, lost, with no hope, no place to go, confused. And then how he told the story of how he found a home, and he found safety, and he found recovery, and a better life that he never even imagined that he could have. See, Emmanuel back then in 2018, 2 years ago, didn't have two problems to deal with. He just had Emmanuel and his addiction. But the man or woman that wakes up this morning in detox has two challenges. Have all that fear and all that angst that you and I are feeling because of the uncertainty that we have today. But they also have a disease that will definitely kill them as well, called addiction. You know, demand is growing. I was in a call the other day with a consortium of recovery providers across the state, and they've noted that there's been a 10% increase in overdoses in the state of Kentucky since March. That doesn't seem, it's not surprising to us with all the anxiety and all the challenges that people are facing on a day-to-day basis. It's really just complicating the addiction problem. We are preparing for and already seeing an increased demand for services at the Healing Place. So here it comes. I need you. I need your courage, just like the Emmanuel's courage. I need your continued commitment. We need to raise $50,000. This event is hugely impactful on our mission and our ability to provide the mission. It comes right at the right time of the year for cash flow for us, and it's a definite influx of revenue that helps us to continue to provide all of these services for these men and women. I've got a couple of anonymous donors that are going to match $50,000 that's donated to us. So I need to raise that money today. I'm asking you to dig just a little deeper. I know times are uncertain. I know that we're not sure how things are going to happen, but I also know that 2,200 people since March 1st have showed up at the Healing Place feeling that same uncertainty and expecting us to be there for them. And I know that we can be, and you guys always are. You're the bedrock of the Healing Place, and I appreciate your support, and thank you very much. But wait, there's more. Now that you're done with your checkbook and your credit card and however else you're going to make your donations, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Terry Miners and Scott Satterfield from the University of Louisville football team.
Reach, recover, and restore is the basis of everything the Healing Place does. Addiction does not discriminate based on age, race, gender, or where you lived. It's something that touches almost everyone from the family to the workforce to the community and everyone in all through society. For more than 30 years now, the Healing Place has remained dedicated to helping those struggle with addiction and homelessness. So we're glad you could join us today for the Reach, Recover, Restore virtual luncheon. Thank you so much for partnering with the Healing Place and doubling the impact of your gift. The event had to go virtual, of course, to keep everyone safe. But some change is something that we've all had to deal with over the past 4 months. So the location may have changed from the Galt House to your phone or computer, but one thing that didn't change is today's featured speaker, and he's a hero around here. He's Louisville head football coach Scott Satterfield, safely social distancing. Hey, Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Well, obviously everything's changed in our world here in terms of training schedules and whatnot. So what have things been like for you and your team during these past few months?
Wow, yeah, a lot of change, a lot of different things that have been going on. And really, I mean, obviously for everybody, it certainly affected us in athletics and really in college life. You think about the high schoolers. I had a senior this past season, this past year in high school. So a lot of change is happening. But, I remember back to March 6th, I think it was a Friday, we had our last practice before spring break. And I remember something about the virus that was out there, and we telling our guys, "Hey, you going to spring break? Make sure you're safe. We'll see you back here in a week." But then we never saw them again. We were gone for several months, almost 3 months now, and we finally got them back into our place a couple of weeks ago. Just a few of them, about 40 guys, and but been very different for us. A lot of different things that we've been having to do, but with these guys. But it's been very interesting, but our guys have done a great job of overcoming the adversity we've been faced with.
It's interesting, too, because players love each other. That's what a team's all about. And so hugging and all that stuff that we're all used to. So it's kind of a different universe we're in now, just where you're like, we're all going to move forward. And I guess you guys are just going to take the proper methodical steps.
Yeah, that's one of the things about our team that we kind of wanted to put in there when we got here a year and a half ago was caring for each other and lifting each other up. And that's been a difficult challenge, obviously, over the last 3 months, because you're not around them, and you're basically doing the virtual thing, but not being able to see them. And you mentioned the putting arms around somebody and hugging them and high fiving them and all those things. And those are things that we all really, I guess, you take for granted, but now we're back, and you have to guard yourself against that, and just do it in different ways. But yeah, that's certainly been difficult, I think, over the last couple of weeks since these guys have been back in town.
Right. It's part of the human connection we all need. Well, the length of the Healing Place's long-term residential recovery program averages 6 to 9 months. And interestingly, from the announcement of your hiring to your first game as a Cardinal was also about 9 months. So in that time, you had to inspire others to make changes to their beliefs, habits, goals, and effort. Talk about that bridge coming to Louisville and getting people's minds right into the Satterfield system.
Yeah, we knew we had to come in here and make a change of everything within our organization. Obviously, if the administration felt they needed to make a coaching change, then something wasn't right, and we needed to go in a different direction. So one of the first things we did when we got in here was really kind of just clean house and really wanted to bring everybody in that was new, kind of just a new vibe and a new sense of belonging. And one of the things that we wanted to do with that was to just really come in and love on the guys. I think that was the biggest thing for us. Could heard a bunch of negativity about a lot of different things when we got to Louisville. It's interesting when you get hired as a football coach and you're coming into a new organization, you really don't know a whole lot about it. I was at Appalachian State. We're trying to win championships there, and you get this opportunity, and we thought it was a great opportunity, but heard great things. But when you get there, you have no idea. So you get in, you try to decipher what was going on and what was wrong, and then what can we do to fix it. And but for us, it was just to come in and put our arms around our guys and love on them and really try to build their confidence. I think that was the biggest thing that we wanted to do, was to come in and say, all right, here's how we're going to be doing things. We're going to hold each other accountable. But we're going to lift each other up. We're going to do it in a loving way and not in a demeaning way. And I think that's what we've been trying to do that the whole time since we've been here. Our guys really appreciated that, I think right from the start. So part of my job was to build a staff to bring in that had that same message. And that's what we were able to do. We brought a bunch of great guys and people in this organization and to be able to send out that same message to our players. And we were able to do that. I think, one of the negatives about that was we ended up losing a lot of guys. I think overall 22 scholarship players that were here that fall could have played for us this past season, but were no longer on our team for one reason or another. They didn't really want to fit into what we were trying to do. They felt they needed to move on to a different opportunity. And so that was kind of negative, but at the same time, we looked at it as a little bit of a positive. If they didn't want to, adhere to what we were doing culturally, then they probably needed to move on. There was no animosity. We helped them, try to go different places. And the ones that were here, they really believed in what we were doing. And they did some great things. And it was really awesome to see from my seat as a head coach and then our staff to see how the progression was made from January really till the time, you mentioned 8 or 9 months to the time we started playing football. What a transformation. It was great to see.
And App State, your system at App State was fantastic, and people knew that you, Scott Satterfield, had a proper attitude that we needed too. So one of the things Jay and Karen talk about at the Healing Place is establishing a culture. And so that was the number one priority for you, was to bring what was working so well at App State to Louisville. And so talk about culture change and then how that attitude branches out and takes root.
Yeah, I think the word culture, it gets thrown around a lot, and sometimes, not it's kind of misplaced. But I think we all have a culture. I think any organization, the Healing Place, Louisville football, pick a business in Louisville, everybody's got a culture. Some of the cultures are not very good, and I think you have to, guard against your culture. You have to work on it every single day. It's not something that all of a sudden it just happens. It's something that you work at and you work hard at it. And my job as the head coach is to really guard against anything negative that will be coming into our organization. We have 6 core values. Our first core value is project positive energy. We want to try to be positive in everything that we do. We're in a world full of negativity. There's a lot of different things that are pulling at us that are negative. You look at the news media, they're going to always try to find the negatives out there. Very rarely do you see positive stories. So we got to work at trying to be positive. It's as coaches, as players. And so, that's one of the things that when we first got in here, that's what we want to try to do. Just try to be positive in everything that we do. We know we got to change. We know we got to get a lot better. You're going to have criticism at times, but even when we're having criticism with our players, we always wanted to start with something positive as opposed to showing something negative. Hey, we don't want to do this. We would try to show, all right, here's what we want to do. And here's the positive look at it. And you try to do that, it just reinforces being positive. And so, that's part of that culture change and that we wanted to put in every single day. When they came to our building, I wanted them to see a smile on our faces as coaches. We wanted them to want to be in the building. One of the things, like as college football players, they have to come over and they have to train a lot. And I want, when they come to the building, I want them to want to be over here. But when we got here, the kids didn't want to come to the building. They didn't want to come in the weight room. They didn't want to come to the coaches' offices. So we wanted to change that. So we wanted them to see a smiling face and, hey, how's your day going? And, not necessarily talk about football, but what's up with you? And I think that's one of the things that we did change when they did come to our building. And so over the course of that, 7 or 8 months, the guys, you started to see them on a Saturday. Their day off, they're showing up. We were getting 70 guys on a Saturday just showing up to get some extra work in. And that's when I knew, I was like, wow, these guys have really bought into what we're trying to do. The other thing we also try to do is we try to lift each other up. I think, what we all know is that we can't do it by ourselves. And it doesn't matter, again, what organization this is. You have to have people to help each other. And again, trying to lift each other up. If you're having a bad day, but I've got 3 or 4 people that are surrounding in my circle that are going to lift me up, then I'm going to get out of this bad place and end up getting into a good place. And I think so. We try to do that. We try to create that accountability in those groups within our team to lift each other up. We do that within our coaching staff. There's a lot of things we do, within our staff that I just think they're uplifting. And I think we all need that. I think every organization needs that in order to be healthy. We have to have that camaraderie and that lifting up and that kind of spirit within the organization.
Yeah, and a lot of us watching today are parents or aunts and uncles or neighbors, and we may have a teenager or someone who doesn't have the right positivity, and we don't really know. See, you're a professional at helping people with that, and the Healing Place is trying to do the same thing. It's giving people a vision of positivity. Where do you start with someone when you think, I know I can get this young person's head to turn some, but where do you start? Where's the leaping off point? Well,
the first thing that we did when we got there in December was we had to establish trust. I mean, I think that's the starting point. If our team, in our case, our players, they don't trust us, they're not going to listen to anything we're saying, really. They may act like they're going to listen to us and, yeah, coach, whatever. But until they fully understand that, hey, we're here for you, you can trust me, then that's when they start really listening and believing in what you're saying, I think. But the only way to establish that is being consistent on a daily basis. And that's the thing that we talked about as a staff. As coaches, we can get very frustrated. Probably as parents, you can get very frustrated at times because things are not going the way you want them to go. So we had to have a lot of patience and every single day, provide that avenue for them to have discussion, maybe they don't fully understand what's going on at all times, but to know that, hey, you can trust me, whatever you're saying, we're here to support you. So there's a lot of similarities in that, I think, but just being on a consistent basis, on a daily basis of just really loving the guys. The things some of our guys did and do, I don't necessarily like. Listen, was that the right decision to be made right there? And they were, no. And I was like, so you just work through those things. This communication, we try to over communicate. I think that's the other thing is that, sometimes it's hard to get information. And so, but we're always talking and plugging. And next thing you know, you're getting to a place where you can work it out. And I think, but just loving on them and being consistent and establishing trust. And over time, they start to believe in that. And that's when you really can start seeing the help.
What about the element of forgiveness? Like you said, a kid will have a misstep. How do you let them know they've done wrong, but you forgive them so that they feel strong enough to come back?
Yeah. And I think that's a challenge. I think as we, particularly as a head coach and as a parent, you want what's best, for the people that you're working with. And when they don't make the right decisions, sometimes, it's frustrating. And, but you kind of just got to talk through it and say, listen, number one, we're here to support you. Don't really like what you did, but let's talk through it. Let's figure out why. Let's so that doesn't happen again. And again, I think if they are, they do have that trust and they know that you're coming from a place of love and a place where you are really trying to help them, then I think you can get through that. I think, but again, it takes time. It's the one thing about it. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. One of the things that they, asking me when we first got, how long will it take you? I was like, well, I don't know. Usually it could take 1.5 years, 2 years before you start getting everything in your culture that you like. So again, it takes time. You have to have patience, but being consistent on a daily basis, but being firm. I think you got to be firm also. And to say, hey, listen, we don't agree with that. There's going to be consequences. But we still love you. And that was one of the big things we did. We have an accountability board. We actually call it the Can't Get Right board, which is kind of funny. The young people kind of like that, but if they do mess up, we put their name on the board. It's in the Can't Get Right board. And there's accountability with that they have to do some things at the end of the week if your name gets put on the board. And we don't judge them when we put their name on the board. We're like, hey, bad decision, your name's on the board. And most of the time they say, yep, you're right, coach. And they accept it and move on with it. But we're very consistent with that. And over time, the names start coming off the board. Initially, the first few months, the board was full. But then once they realize, hey, these coaches are consistent and they're serious, we don't want to get on that board anymore. So I think all those things, just really, you put all that together, and it kind of creates that culture that you're looking for.
My name was on that my dad's board my whole teenage years, I can tell you.
Absolutely.
All right, we appreciate this time you're giving us to help the healing place. Let's talk about, I know we can't have definition exactly on what, but what are you looking forward to? How do you see this season coming together, considering the pandemic and all the other issues in place here? You got your focus on football, of course.
Absolutely. Well, we've got a plan in place. I think you always got to continue to have your plan, and we've put a plan in place. And and I always say the plan is something to base the changes off of, because you have your plan, but it very rarely goes to exact the plan. You always have to tweak it and change it. So we have a plan in place, and and as we sit here today, we feel like the season's going to go on. We're playing Wednesday night at NC State, the first game of the season there, and right before the Derby that weekend on the 5th. So, we have our plan. We have our guys are here this summer, and we've kind of been bringing our guys in phases. We have a 4-phase approach to bring them in this summer, and then we're going to have a 6-week return to play protocol before we start our first game. And so, again, you have all these plans, but if something comes out next week and they change it, then we'll tweak our plans. And so the one thing that we always try to do is be very fluid in our approach. We have our core values, and we plan out. We have a calendar, 12-month long calendar, and all the things that we have on the calendar written on there. But when things change, we never get bent out of shape about that. Because I want our players to know that listen, life's going to throw a lot of different things at you. You're going to have a lot of curveballs thrown at you. Probably won't go the way you exactly want it to go, but how can we roll with that? We don't get frustrated, but we work through it. And so same thing within a game. Hey, you're in a football game and things are not going to go smooth. If you fold the tent, then you're not going to win. You're never going to have success. And so we don't want things to bother us. We just want to roll with the punches, so to speak. And I think that's one thing that our guys have learned how to do that's been great. So that's kind of what we are right now. We're going to roll with the punches this summer. We plan on playing our first game on Wednesday night of that first week in September. And, but we'll see how it goes. It's very the unknowing is the part that's nerve-wracking, I think, for coaches, because you like to have everything in place.
This is going to be the wildest card march in the history, because everybody's so pent up waiting to get football back.
Yeah, no question.
And this could turn out to be like a 5-day tailgate, because they'll show up for Wednesday all day, do tailgate, go to your game, and then just hang there for the races right down the street, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This is going to be great fun.
Great fun.
Really appreciate this, Coach. Thanks so much for giving us your time. And, as always, you've got the support of the city and the whole football culture in this whole area. So thank you again. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and share a little bit. I know the one thing that when we first got here to Louisville, the one thing about this community, everybody just open-armed and loved on us as my family, and then also our coach's family. And that's one thing we obviously really, really appreciate. It's been a great time so far, and really the time has flown by. But the people of Louisville are awesome people, have great hearts, and we're very excited to be here and continue to interact with this community and just get involved, and at the same time go out and win a bunch of football games. Really appreciate you guys.
You betcha. Your attitude is just phenomenal, and we needed it and are thriving on it. Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
We know your time is valuable, so on behalf of our staff, our board of directors, and most importantly, our clients, I thank you for spending your time with us here today.
Because of your generous support, we are able to continue offering our services at no cost to the client, no matter how long they stay in our program. If you would like to make an additional donation to help more men and women find recovery, please click the link in the description of this video or click the donate button on this page. We can't do what we do without you.
We want to close today with the same way we would have closed the luncheon in person, with a serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Get going! Card Nation, I'm not asking you to push a truck. I'm not asking you to run to your heart beats out of your chest. I'm asking you to donate to the healing place. Go do it. Go Cards.